Hi, it's V from Movies Hunter, ready to take on a film so intense you will need a safety harness just to watch it. Today, my friends, we are going to dive into the 2010 nail-biter, I Saw the Devil. A young woman finds herself stranded on the side of the road, her car tire punctured. Desperate and alone, she calls her fiancé for help. But little does she know, her fate has already been sealed. A stranger approaches offering his assistance, but her fiancé urges her to wait for the tow truck to arrive. Tragically, it's too late. The man reveals his sinister intentions and attacks her car, forcing his way inside. He strikes her with a hammer, knocking her unconscious, and drags her through the snow to his lair. Tied to a pole like an animal, the young woman awakens to a nightmare, realizing she has been taken captive by a killer. Desperate and begging for her life, she reveals that she is pregnant. But her pleas fall on deaf ears as the man shows absolutely no mercy. In a cruel and brutal act, he takes her life and, cuts her into pieces, tossing them into a nearby stream. The next morning, a young boy stumbles upon the gruesome discovery, running to call for help. Section Chief O and Squad Chief Jang lead the investigation, sifting through the evidence and searching for any clues. And then the horror is confirmed. Squad Chief Jang, a veteran police officer with 30 years of experience, is devastated to find his daughter, Ju Yoon, among the remains. In that moment, all of his years of service and his badge mean nothing as he stands helplessly before the loss of his own child. Kim So-yoon, the devoted fiancé of the victim, arrives at the crime scene in disbelief. He is shattered to see the love of his life lying lifeless and vows to bring the murderer to justice. As an agent of the National Intelligence Service, Kim takes 2 weeks off to focus on finding the person responsible for his fiancé's death. With a broken heart and a determined spirit, Kim sets out on a quest for the truth. One of his subordinates provides him with a device that allows him to track and listen in on the suspects. Kim spies on the 4 suspects, but with each passing day, the killer remains elusive. He tortures 2 of the suspects in his desperation to find a lead, but they know nothing. As the days go by, Kim becomes increasingly frustrated, as seen in his face right here, and he feels helpless in his search for the truth. He is haunted by the thought that he wasn't there for his fiancée when she needed him the most. Meanwhile, the murderer strikes again, this time targeting another unsuspecting woman. The woman gets into the murderer's van, not realizing the danger she is in, and is later killed in the same brutal manner as Ju Yoon. Kim is now consumed by grief and a deep sense of anger, determined to bring the murderer to justice no matter what it takes. Kyung-chul was living a double life, hiding his dark desires behind the facade of a school bus driver. That's just creepy. But for Soo-yoon, a determined detective on the hunt for a serial killer, this predator was nothing more than a target. When Soo-yoon arrives at Kyung-chul's house, he is met with the man's family, who have been living in ignorance of their father's true nature. But Soo-yoon is not easily discouraged, and with the help of Kyung-chul's son, he discovers the horrific evidence of the killer's crimes. As Soo-yoon delves deeper into the murderer's lair, he uncovers Ju-yoon's engagement ring, a haunting reminder of the young woman whose life was tragically taken. Meanwhile, Kyung-chul right here has kidnapped another innocent schoolgirl, and Soo-yoon races against time to save her. Also, I know we're in the middle of a murder chase, whatever, but please subscribe and like the video. It will help the channel grow. Thank you so much, I'm broke. Now, the confrontation between Soo-yoon and Kyung-chul is electric, with the hunter and the hunted facing off in a tense showdown. But Soo-yoon is a trained professional and he emerges victorious, putting an end to the terror that Kyung-chul had brought into so many lives. Soo-yoon's anger boils over as he releases 1,000 punches on Kyung-chul's ugly face, sending him spiraling to the ground. As Soo-yoon stands over Kyung-chul with a knife in his hand, ready to end the madman's life, a moment of truth arrives. Soo-yoon hesitates. Instead of killing him, he decides to make Kyung-chul pay in a different way. He forces the tracking device down the murderer's throat, crushes his hand, and gives him a little money for medical treatment, taunting him with a twisted sense of mercy. Now, Kyung-chul stumbles down the road, laughing at the absurdity of his situation. He feels as though fate has dealt him a lucky hand when a taxi pulls up beside him. He climbs inside only to find that his luck has ran out. The passengers are not there to help, but to rob and kill him. Kyung-chul, with this dark sense of humor, sees this as a challenge and rises to it. He slashes and stabs, leaving 2 more bodies in his wake. But his victory is short-lived. As he searches the car, he finds the true victim of his latest killing spree. Kyung-chul shrugs it off and drives to a small town to get medical treatment. Little does he know that Soo-yoon is always one step behind him, tracking his every move. At the clinic, Kyung-chul tries to satisfy his desires, forcing himself on a nurse. But Soo-yoon is listening, and he will not let the monster get away with his crimes. He storms into the room, attacking Kyung-chul and knocking him unconscious once again. This time, Soo-yoon is determined to make him pay. He tortures him, slicing through the Achilles tendon, leaving him to crawl away in agony. Kyung-chul is on the run, desperate to understand how Soo-yoon found him, because he's a fucking dumbass. He checks for any tracking devices but finds nothing. He jumps into a taxi, hoping to escape his pursuer, but the vehicle breaks down. A truck of soldiers pulls over, offering to help him. Squad Chief Jang contacts Soo-yoon, pleading with him to stop his quest for vengeance. Jang warns that no matter what Soo-yoon does, Joo-yoon will never return. Si-yoon also tries to reason with him, but Soo-yoon is like, no, I need this revenge. Kyung-chul turns to his friend Tae-ju for help. Tae-ju is a murderer and a cannibal and offers his insight into the situation. He tells Kyung-chul that whoever is after him is a relative of one of his victims, hunting him like an animal. As he tries to piece together why Soo-yoon is after him, Kyung-chul remembers Joo-yoon's engagement ring. The realization dawns on him that Soo-yoon is the one who attacked him wearing Joo-yoon's ring. Soo-yoon arrives at the hideout, breaking in and overpowering Tae-ju. Just as Soo-yoon is about to inflict torture, Kyung-chul steps in, risking his own life to save his friend. So basically, they fight a lot, and in the morning, Tae-ju and Si-yoon are whisked away by the police, unconscious from their ordeal. But they recover, and now Kyung-chul tracks down the laxatives he needs to remove the transmitter. So basically, as he flees, he taunts Soo-yoon with the one truth that could break him completely, that his beloved fiancée was carrying his child when she was brutally taken from him. Rushing to the clinic, Soo-yoon is met with emptiness as Kyung-chul has already vanished into the shadows. And the transmitter is now planted on an unsuspecting truck driver. And basically, there is again a lot of fighting. Soo-yoon subjects Kyung-chul to the same torture he had inflicted on countless women, placing him under the makeshift whatever this is. Despite all he's done, Kyung-chul is unafraid, taunting Soo-yoon to end his life. Soo-yoon has a single-minded mission, which is to make Kyung-chul pay for his atrocities. He wants to inflict pain, to make him feel the same misery. But Kyung-chul is arrogant. He taunts Soo-yoon, belittling him with insults and sneers. Little does he know, Soo-yoon has a trap set, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As Kyung-chul's family arrives, desperation and fear begin to consume him. For the first time, he experiences the terror that he has inflicted upon so many others. But it's too late, because the trap has been triggered. And in a split second, Kyung-chul's life is snuffed out. Soo-yoon, watching from a distance, is overcome with emotion. The weight of what is done finally catches up to him, and he breaks down in tears. He has finally fulfilled his promise to his fiancée, but at what cost? He basically lost everything. He walks away from the scene, a broken man, haunted by the memories of the past and the reality of the present. And so this was the story of I Saw the Devil. See you in the next hunt. Subscribe.